There's something undeniably magnetic about a truly mature woman. Not mature in terms of age, but mature in psychological development. Carl Jung, the revolutionary psychologist who transformed our understanding of human consciousness, identified specific qualities that make certain women irresistibly attractive in ways that go far beyond physical beauty or youthful charm. These women possess what Jung called integrated femininity, a psychological wholeness that draws people to them like a powerful gravitational force. Jung discovered that while society often focuses on external attractiveness that fades with time, there's a deeper form of magnetism that actually grows stronger as a woman develops psychologically. This isn't about manipulation or learned seduction techniques. It's about achieving what Jung termed individuation, the process of becoming fully yourself, which creates an authentic presence that others find irresistible. What makes Jung's insight so powerful is that he understood attraction as fundamentally psychological rather than merely physical. A mature woman who has done the deep inner work of understanding herself, integrating her shadow, and embracing her complete nature becomes what Jung called a container for transformation. Someone in whose presence others feel safe to become their truest selves. If you're ready to discover the profound psychological secrets that can transform not just how others see you, but how you see yourself, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. We explore the deepest insights from psychology's greatest minds to help women understand and develop their authentic power and magnetism. Jung observed that immature attraction relies on what he called projection, where people are drawn to others based on fantasies or unmet psychological needs. But mature attraction operates on a completely different level. It's based on genuine recognition, authentic presence, and the rare quality of psychological integration that Jung believed most people spend their entire lives seeking, but few ever achieve. The 7 secrets we're about to explore aren't techniques or strategies to manipulate others' feelings. They're characteristics that emerge naturally when a woman has done the profound inner work of becoming psychologically whole. Jung called this process the realization of the self, not the ego-driven self that seeks validation and approval, but the deeper self that knows its own worth and doesn't need external confirmation to feel complete. These qualities create what Jung termed numinous presence, an almost mystical attractiveness that touches others at the soul level. When you encounter a woman who embodies these secrets, you feel drawn to her not because she's trying to attract you, but because her very presence awakens something authentic and alive within yourself. This is the difference between shallow charm and deep magnetism, between temporary fascination and lasting attraction. The first secret of a naturally attractive mature woman is what Jung called shadow integration. Most people spend their lives hiding or denying the parts of themselves they consider unacceptable: their anger, their selfishness, their sexuality, their ambition. But a psychologically mature woman has faced these shadow aspects of her personality and learned to integrate them consciously rather than projecting them onto others or letting them control her unconsciously. This doesn't mean she becomes selfish or destructive. Instead, Jung observed that when we acknowledge and integrate our shadow, we become whole human beings rather than one-dimensional personas. A woman who has integrated her shadow can be both nurturing and fierce, both gentle and strong, both compassionate and boundaried. This completeness makes her incredibly attractive because people sense they're encountering someone real rather than a carefully constructed image. Shadow integration also creates what Jung called authentic confidence. Unlike the brittle confidence that comes from denying your flaws or the false confidence that comes from comparing yourself to others, authentic confidence emerges from knowing and accepting all aspects of yourself. A woman with integrated shadow energy doesn't need to compete with other women or put others down to feel good about herself because she's not threatened by qualities she's made peace with in herself. The second secret is emotional sovereignty, the ability to own and regulate your emotional responses without making others responsible for your feelings. Jung observed that emotionally sovereign women don't use their emotions to manipulate or control others, nor do they suppress their feelings to avoid discomfort. Instead, they feel their emotions fully while taking complete responsibility for how they choose to express and act on them. This emotional maturity creates incredible magnetism because it allows others to relax in your presence. People don't have to walk on eggshells or manage your emotional state. They can be authentic themselves because they trust that you can handle whatever emotions arise without making it their fault or their problem to fix. Jung called this creating safe space for authentic encounter. Emotional sovereignty also means you don't need others to validate your feelings or agree with your perspective to feel secure. You can disagree without becoming defensive, experience disappointment without becoming bitter, and face rejection without losing your sense of self-worth. This emotional stability becomes deeply attractive because it signals psychological strength and maturity that most people desperately seek but rarely find in themselves or others. The third secret Jung identified is purpose beyond romance. Mature women who naturally attract others have cultivated a sense of meaning and direction that doesn't depend on romantic relationships for fulfillment. A woman with purpose beyond romance has what Jung called individual destiny. She knows why she's here and what she's meant to contribute to the world. This might be through her career, creative expression, spiritual practice, or service to others, but it's something that gives her life meaning, independent of her relationship status. This purpose creates an energy and vitality that others find magnetic because it signals a woman who is living fully rather than waiting for someone else to complete her story. Jung observed that when a woman has genuine purpose, she approaches relationships from abundance rather than neediness. She's not looking for someone to rescue her from boredom or give her life meaning. Instead, she's interested in sharing her already fulfilling life with someone who adds value rather than fills a void. This energy of abundance rather than scarcity makes her incredibly attractive because people sense they would be joining something beautiful rather than being asked to fix something broken. The fourth secret is what Jung termed comfortable with solitude. Mature women who naturally attract others have developed the rare ability to genuinely enjoy their own company. They don't feel desperate or incomplete when alone because they've cultivated a rich inner life and learned to be their own best companion. This comfort with solitude creates what Jung called selective availability. They're choosy about how they spend their time and with whom they share their energy. This selectivity becomes attractive because it signals high standards and self-respect. When someone is comfortable being alone, their choice to spend time with you feels like a genuine preference rather than desperate need. Jung noted that people are naturally drawn to those who seem content with or without them, because it suggests they would be choosing you for who you are rather than what you can provide. The fifth secret Jung identified is authentic self-expression. Mature women who naturally attract others have stopped performing versions of themselves designed to please others and have learned to express their genuine thoughts, feelings, and perspectives. This doesn't mean being inconsiderate or harsh, but it means being honest about who they are and what they believe rather than shape-shifting to gain approval. Authentic self-expression creates magnetism because it's so rare in a world where most people are constantly adjusting their presentation based on their audience. When you encounter someone who is genuinely themselves, regardless of who's watching, it's refreshing and attractive. Jung called this persona transcendence, moving beyond the masks we wear to navigate social situations and accessing our authentic core self. This authenticity also creates trust, because people sense they're getting the real person rather than a carefully curated version. There's no wondering what someone really thinks or feels when they're being genuinely themselves, which creates a sense of safety and reliability that forms the foundation of deep attraction and lasting connection. The sixth secret is what Jung called integrated wisdom, the ability to learn from life experiences without becoming bitter, cynical, or closed-hearted. Mature women who naturally attract others have faced disappointments, betrayals, and losses, but instead of allowing these experiences to make them defensive or suspicious, they've extracted wisdom that makes them more compassionate, discerning, and emotionally intelligent. This integrated wisdom manifests as what Jung termed earned optimism, not the naive positivity of someone who hasn't faced life's challenges, but the deep hope of someone who has weathered storms and knows they can survive whatever comes. This creates an energy of resilience and strength that others find magnetic, because it suggests someone who won't break under pressure or abandon ship when things get difficult. Integrated wisdom also creates excellent judgment about people and situations. A woman who has learned from her experiences can sense authenticity in others, recognize red flags early, and make decisions based on wisdom rather than wishful thinking. This discernment makes her more attractive because people sense she chooses her connections consciously rather than desperately accepting whatever attention is available. The seventh and most powerful secret Jung identified is unconditional self-acceptance. This doesn't mean arrogance or refusing to grow, but rather a deep acceptance of your fundamental worth that doesn't fluctuate based on external circumstances, achievements, or others' opinions. A woman who has achieved unconditional self-acceptance radiates what Jung called unshakable presence, a groundedness that others find incredibly magnetic. This self-acceptance creates what Jung termed emotional freedom, the ability to love others without attachment to specific outcomes, to give without keeping score, and to connect without losing yourself. When you accept yourself completely, you don't need others to validate you, which paradoxically makes you more attractive because people sense your emotional freedom and want to experience it themselves. Jung observed that unconditional self-acceptance also creates authentic generosity, the ability to give from overflow rather than obligation or manipulation. A woman who truly accepts herself can celebrate others' success without feeling threatened, support others' growth without needing credit, and love without conditions or expectations. This generous spirit becomes incredibly attractive because it's so rare and healing to encounter. These 7 secrets work synergistically. Each one reinforces and amplifies the others. Shadow integration supports emotional sovereignty, which enables authentic self-expression, which facilitates integrated wisdom, which leads to unconditional self-acceptance. Together, they create what Jung considered the pinnacle of psychological development, a woman who is both fully herself and fully available for authentic connection with others. Jung believed that this level of psychological maturity represents the highest form of attractiveness because it appeals to the deepest parts of human nature, our longing for authenticity, safety, growth, and genuine connection. A woman who embodies these qualities doesn't just attract others. She elevates them, inspiring them to become more authentic and integrated themselves. What makes these 7 secrets so powerful is that they create what Jung called sustainable magnetism, attractiveness that actually grows stronger over time rather than fading. while physical beauty and youthful energy naturally diminish with age. Psychological maturity and integration continue to deepen, creating a form of appeal that becomes more potent with experience and wisdom. Jung observed that women who develop these qualities often report feeling more attractive and confident in their 40s, 50s, and beyond than they did in their 20s. This isn't about denial or refusing to acknowledge physical changes, but about accessing a deeper source of magnetism that transcends superficial attributes. They understand what Jung called the beauty of depth, the radiance that comes from psychological wholeness and authentic self-expression. This sustainable magnetism also creates what Jung termed selective attraction, drawing people who are capable of appreciating depth and authenticity rather than those seeking superficial gratification. A psychologically mature woman naturally filters out partners and friends who are intimidated by her completeness or threatened by her independence, attracting instead those who are ready for genuine connection and mutual growth. The practical implications of these secrets extend far beyond romantic attraction. Jung noted that women who embody these qualities become natural leaders, mentors, and catalysts for positive change in their communities. Their integrated presence creates what he called transformational fields, spaces where others feel safe to explore their own authenticity and growth. Jung also observed that developing these qualities requires what he called the courage of individuation, the willingness to disappoint some people in order to become genuinely yourself. This process isn't always comfortable or socially approved, but it's essential for accessing your authentic magnetism. Many women remain stuck in immature patterns of seeking approval and avoiding conflict, which prevents them from developing the psychological depth that creates lasting attraction. The journey toward mature femininity and natural magnetism isn't about perfection or never making mistakes. Jung emphasized that it's about conscious participation in your own development, actively engaging with your growth rather than hoping it will happen automatically. This requires honest self-reflection, willingness to face uncomfortable truths about yourself, and commitment to becoming whole rather than just appearing successful. If you're inspired to begin or deepen this journey of psychological maturity and authentic attractiveness, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. We're dedicated to exploring the profound insights that can help you become not just more attractive to others, but more attractive to yourself, living from a place of genuine self-love and authentic power. Jung believed that when a woman fully embodies these 7 secrets, she becomes what he called a force of nature, someone whose very existence makes the world more beautiful, truthful, and alive. This isn't about superiority over others, but about accessing the full potential of mature femininity and using it to create positive impact in all areas of life. The ultimate power of these 7 secrets lies in what Jung called the ripple effect of authenticity. When a woman fully embodies psychological maturity and natural magnetism, she doesn't just transform her own life, she gives others permission to do the same. Her presence becomes what Jung termed a catalyst for consciousness, inspiring others to question their own patterns of inauthenticity and begin their own journey toward integration and wholeness. Jung observed that mature women who naturally attract others often become what he called unconscious teachers. People learn just by being around them. Their way of handling conflict with grace, expressing their needs without manipulation, and maintaining their center during chaos shows others what psychological maturity looks like in action. This teaching isn't preachy or deliberate. It's simply the natural result of living authentically. This ripple effect extends into all relationships: romantic, familial, professional, and social. A woman who has integrated these qualities creates what Jung called elevated interactions wherever she goes. Conversations become deeper, connections become more meaningful, and conflicts become opportunities for growth rather than battles for dominance. People leave interactions with her feeling more alive and inspired to be their best selves. Jung also noted that these women often experience what he termed synchronistic alignment, meaningful coincidences, and opportunities that seem to flow naturally from their psychological state. When you're operating from authentic self-expression and integrated wisdom, you naturally attract circumstances and people that support your highest development and most meaningful contributions. The financial and professional implications are profound as well. Jung observed that psychologically mature women often experience unexpected career advancement, creative breakthroughs, and financial abundance because their integrated presence makes them natural leaders and innovators. Their ability to remain centered during stress, make decisions from wisdom rather than fear, and inspire others' growth makes them invaluable in any context. Perhaps most importantly, Jung believed that developing these 7 secrets creates what he called impenetrable joy, a happiness that doesn't depend on external circumstances, because it springs from the deep satisfaction of being fully yourself. This joy becomes magnetic, not because others want to take it from you, but because they want to learn how to cultivate it themselves. The journey towards psychological maturity and natural magnetism isn't always easy, but Jung considered it the most worthwhile pursuit of human existence. These 7 secrets, shadow integration, emotional sovereignty, purpose beyond romance, comfort with solitude, authentic self-expression, integrated wisdom, and unconditional self-acceptance, represent the map to becoming not just attractive to others, but genuinely attractive to yourself. When you embody these qualities, you're not trying to attract anyone or anything. You're simply being so authentically yourself that attraction becomes a natural byproduct of your psychological wholeness. This is Jung's vision of mature femininity, not as something that diminishes with age, but as something that grows more powerful, beautiful, and magnetic with every year of conscious development and authentic self-expression.